All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we're going up, way up. We're talking about the masterminds behind the systems that keep us moving vertically, those metal boxes we take for granted. Elevators.
Or as we like to call them in the biz lifts.
Right, lifts. And let me tell you, after looking through this RoleCatcher guide, being a lift technician is way more interesting than I thought. I was pictured, like, fixing doors and stuff, but it's a lot more, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole hidden world behind those buttons.
The guide mentions installing, maintaining, troubleshooting.
It's not just about the elevator car itself. You've got hoistways, which is the shaft the elevator sits in, support assemblies, the works.
Support assemblies.
Yeah, those are crucial. They're like the backbone, keeping everything in place.
Yeah.
Without them, you'd have a very bumpy ride or no ride at all.
Okay, yeah, no thanks on the bumpy ride. And this is all before we even get to the really technical stuff. The guide mentions smart lifts, which, full disclosure, I skimmed over because it sounded intimidating.
Smart lifts are where the industry is headed. It's not just gears and grease anymore. We're talking sensors, data analysis, the whole 9 yards.
So like elevators with their own little computer brains?
Pretty much. They can do things like optimize traffic flow, even predict potential issues before they become major breakdowns.
Hold on, predict breakdowns. Are we talking psychic elevators now?
Haha, not psychic, but close. They use sensors to detect things like unusual vibrations or wear and tear. That data gets analyzed and boom, the system knows when a part might need replacing.
Wow, okay, so maybe a little psychic. That's incredible. So someone going into this field now needs to be a mechanic, A&ED, a tech whiz.
You got it. It's one of the reasons why skilled lift technicians are in such high demand.
Makes sense. But high demand probably means the job itself is pretty demanding, right? What's the work experience actually like? RoleCatcher seemed pretty upfront about that.
Oh yeah, they don't sugarcoat it. They highlight the job security, the earning potential, which is great, by the way, but they're also clear about the physical demands.
Yeah, physically demanding definitely caught my eye. We're talking heavy lifting, heights, probably some tight spaces too.
You're on your feet a lot, often working with heavy equipment. And yeah, sometimes you're hundreds of feet in the air. It's not for everyone. But that's also why those smooth elevator rides exist. Takes a lot to keep them running. Speaking of keeping things running, RoleCatcher dives into the career path, the different stages. And it's not just like, get hired, become an expert, right? Not at all. There's a definite progression, from entry level all the way to senior technician. And each stage, well, it comes with a whole new set of responsibilities, and you got to up your expertise every step of the way.
Okay, so let's say you're just starting out, eager beaver, ready to conquer the world of lifts.
Yeah.
What does that entry-level life look like?
Think apprenticeship. You're paired up with experienced techs, learning by doing.
So you're not installing elevators on day one.
Haha, not quite. More like assisting, handing them tools, maybe helping connect some basic electronic elements. Gotta start somewhere.
Right. Get a feel for things. When do you get to, like, work on your own?
That's where the junior lift technician stage comes in. You've got some experience under your belt, you've proven yourself, so you get more independence.
Time to shine.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you doing at that level?
You might be tasked with setting up entire lifts on your own, installing support assemblies, things like that.
Support assemblies, those are important, right?
Critical. It's the framework, keeps everything in place, literally.
Okay, yeah, no pressure. So you're a junior lift technician. What's the next step up?
Full-fledged lift technician, no more junior, you're the one in charge, responsible for the entire process from start to finish.
Whoa, that's a big jump.
It is. You're connecting everything, testing, calibrating, making sure it's all up to code and, actually works.
Because if it doesn't work, people are stuck.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Exactly. That's why documentation is so important. Every little thing gets logged, inspections, repairs, adjustments. Think of it like a doctor keeping patient records. Gotta be meticulous.
I imagine that comes in handy when you reach the peak. Senior lift technician.
Absolutely. At that level, it's not just about your technical skills, it's about leadership. You're mentoring the newer techs, troubleshooting those really weird problems.
The ones that have everyone stumped.
Exactly. You need serious problem-solving skills to be a senior lift technician, almost like a detective.
Because sometimes the problem isn't obvious, right? You got to piece it together.
Yep. You're analytical, observant, able to think under pressure. And remember, you're literally dealing with people's safety.
No room for error. And speaking of no room for error, RoleCatcher mentioned something about continuous learning.
Right. The field's always changing, new tech coming out. You got to stay ahead of the curve.
It's not enough to just learn it once and you're good.
Nope. RoleCatcher actually provides some cool resources for that too.
Okay, so what kind of resource? They actually give you ways to keep learning.
Yeah, they have this whole section on unlocking your potential, and it's not just like empty advice. They have actual tools.
Okay, I like tools. Tell me more.
Well, they have interview prep stuff, like specifically for lift technicians, because those questions can be pretty out there.
Out there, how?
Well, you got to know the technical stuff, but they'll also ask about like safety procedures, how you handle pressure.
Right, because you're dealing with, actual lives.
Exactly.
Oh.
So RoleCatcher, they have these AI-powered practice platforms, right? You can actually simulate interviews and get feedback on your answers.
Wait, what? Simulate interviews with a robot?
Pretty much. It's AI, so it's not a robot, but like it can analyze your answers, even your body language.
Body language. The robot's watching how I move.
Well, it's more like, are you making eye contact? Are you fidgeting? That kind of stuff. Those nonverbal cues can make a big difference.
Huh. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Those first impressions are everything.
Oh, yeah. Especially these days when so many companies are using AI for those initial screenings. When you first submit your resume.
Don't even get me started on those AI recruiters. It feels like you're just tossing your resume into a void sometimes.
Tell me about it. But RoleCatcher, they've got a tool for that too. CV and resume analysis.
So it tells you if your resume is, good enough for the robots.
Basically, it helps you use the right keywords, make sure the format's right, all that stuff that the AI is looking for.
Okay, so it's like learn the robot language so you can get to the human interview.
Pretty much. It's all about putting your best foot forward.
Well, I am sold. RoleCatcher, they've got my attention. This has been fascinating, by the way. I always thought elevators were interesting, or lifts, I should say.
Haha, you'll fit right in.
But seriously, I had no idea how much goes into it. It's a lot more than I ever imagined.
It's one of those things you don't really think about until it stops working.
Right. And then you're stuck. So big shout out to all the lift technicians out there keeping us moving.
They're the real heroes.
So for anyone listening who's now suddenly interested in becoming a lift technician, which, let's be real, it does sound kind of cool.
It is cool.
It's challenging, it pays well, and you get to work with really cool tech. What's not to like?
And those views.
Oh yeah, forgot about the views. So bottom line, if you're looking for a career that's different, that's in demand, and, let's be honest, a little bit badass,
Definitely badass.
then head over to RoleCatcher, check out their guide. They lay it all out there, the good, the challenging, the resources. It's all there.
It's your one-stop shop for all things lift technician.
And on that note, I think it's time for it to head back down to ground level.
Back to reality.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another adventure into the world of, well, who knows what we'll explore next. Until then, stay curious.